Why is it reasonable to believe that God exists? Quite simply, because it's true that he exists. Here's my argument. Premise 1. It's reasonable to believe that which is true. Premise 2. It's true that God exists. Conclusion. Therefore, it's reasonable to believe that God exists. I say it's true that God exists. Therefore, it is true that God exists. My argument is sound and the debate is over. How do I know it's real? The same way all of you do. Revelation from the God that all of you know exists. Is it reasonable to believe that God exists? Yes. Yes, it is. Why? Because it's true that God exists. And denial of that claim reduces one's worldview to absurdity. You can't know anything to be true unless you start with God. Everyone here knows that God exists. Why don't I present evidence? Why don't I present evidence? Where do you hear evidence out in the world? In the court of law. Who do you present evidence to in court? The judge. When you come up to me and say you don't believe in God, and I present you with evidence, I'm saying that you're the judge. You're not the judge. God is the judge. All of you know that he exists. Everyone here knows that God exists, and that's what I'm going to keep telling you. To avoid the God that all of you know exists. Sure, you can laugh if you want, but it's absurd. It's absurd.
What my question presupposes is irrelevant to whether or not you're willing to answer and give the explanation that no presuppositionalist has ever done, which is, how is it possible for God to reveal things to you in such a way that you can be certain?
Because he's God. God can do that.
Oh, okay. You've said that you believe that we all already know God exists.
That's right.
And you're convinced that this is true.
It's not whether I'm convinced or not. It is true.
Okay. And it's absolutely impossible for you to be wrong about that.
About that, yes.
Okay. Why would he leave the most important message prone to mistakes from poor apologists, scribal errors, and the limitations of reason, rather than directly revealing that to everyone?
For a reason which is perfectly sufficient for God.
Okay. So you believe that God reveals to all of us in ways that we can all be certain?
Everyone is certain. Not can be certain, is certain. What does it require to doubt the existence of God? It requires God to doubt the existence of God. Because you can't make sense of any of those without him. Matt cares about truth, so he must care about ultimate reality. Right?
I don't care whether this is the ultimate reality.
Wait, what? Matt doesn't care if this is the ultimate reality? Surely that was a slip of the tongue. Surely Matt must care a little bit about what's ultimately real.
Possibilities and reality. I don't care. Sorry, I just really, really, really don't care.
He really, really, really doesn't care.
Sye may bring up things I've said in the past, but he's most likely arguing against Strawman and is once again engaged in some debate other than this one.
Like most people.
Mocked! But it'd be better if he addresses the positions I'm actually defending here.
Matt can't know anything outside his own brain. And I have to show that it's true that God exists. He can't know anything outside his own brain, and he's going to argue that it's unreasonable to believe in God? You see, you need to be able to know what's ultimately real to know what's true. I submit that you can't know what's ultimately real without revelation from God. Well, tonight I'm going to wait to see if Matt ever tells me how he can know anything to be true according to his worldview. It's reasonable to believe that God exists. Reason demands truth, and Matt can't make sense of truth without God. Still, we haven't heard how Matt knows anything to be true. That's a problem. Now, Matt has a definition of truth. Truth is that which corresponds to reality. You know what? I don't have any problem with that definition. But the problem is, truth is that which corresponds to reality according to who? Truth is that which corresponds to reality as perceived by God, as perceived by an absolute perceiver. Because the thing is, we're all going to have different perceptions. But I didn't like that view because I think it adds an unnecessary step. So truth is whatever God says. Truth is whatever conforms to the mind of God. And without that, you can't know anything to be true. How do you know anything to be objectively real?
How do I know? What do you mean by know?
On what basis do you trust your sense and reasoning?
On their continued reliability at producing effective results.
Okay. But you can't account for logical absolutes. That's a problem.
And you keep coming back, as you just did, with you can't account for logical absolutes.
Right.
Well, I hate to tell you this, but neither can you. All you can do is claim that you can account for the logical absolutes. Please account for the logical absolutes.
Well,
for Sye or Matt?
when Matt says something is the case, what he's really saying is, I know it's the case. But the thing is, he's going to want to say, I believe it's the case. Well, do me a favor, Matt. In the future, instead of saying something is the case, be consistent with your worldview and just say you believe it's the case.
How about I say what I want?
Okay, you can say what you want. But the thing is, the reason that you do that is because when I challenge, when you say something is the case, I say, do you know it? No, I just believe it. But you're saying it as though you know it, and that's the problem.
You just said that when I say something is the case, I'm saying I know it. And I just got done saying that when I say something is the case, I'm not saying
right,
I
but
know
the thing
it.
is, you ask
so
anybody.
You know more about what's going on in my head than I do.
Well, I'm saying that
Is that right?
if you did a survey of somebody who says, well, this
So
is
are
the
you
case.
calling me a liar?
I'm saying, if you're saying that this is the case,
I
and
don't
you ask
care
a person,
about a survey. You said what I meant.
hang on a second.
You said that
right.
I meant something.
That's
Are you
right.
calling me a liar?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Matt agrees that his view on logic is a result of the chemical reaction in his brain. I mean, would you come here today and listen to a debate? It was a bottle of Dr. Pepper arguing against a bottle of Mountain Dew. You shake them up and you open them and they start to fizz. Which of those fizzes would be true? Neither. It's just fizz. If Matt's worldview is true, then our thoughts are the byproduct of the chemical reactions in our evolved brains. It's brain barf. He would be fizzing atheistically, I'm fizzing theistically. And you want to know which one of those is true. See, there's not really much more I have to say about that. Yeah, you can laugh all you want. No, I'll keep going. I'll just preach to you. See, I wanted a free exchange where Matt and I could just talk to each other, and guess what? The debate organizers didn't. That's right, you didn't, Sarah, you didn't want that. And I said, well, I know Matt wants that. He doesn't like the formal debate. He wants just an exchange. I said, ask Matt. And they said, no, Matt, he doesn't want that either. He wants us to own the time of the questions. See, because otherwise the bully can take over. The bully can take over, and then it won't be, nobody will benefit from that. I said, that's Matt's show. It never ceases to amaze me that you don't see the folly of that answer. You say, I don't mind. I was the one who wanted a free exchange. I did. I'll show you the emails. I'll post them later. I wanted a free exchange.
Yeah, and you should
she
stop
didn't,
blaming
and
Sarah
you didn't.
because I didn't.
No, but she started it, though.
Yeah.
And then you... She did. Unless you are preparing this debate, preparing the standard for this debate, without my knowledge of it, that might have been the case behind the scenes. That's fine. I expect that. You see, that's right. You can clap. You can clap if you want, but God will not be mocked.
I mean, how do you consolidate that? I mean, are you not being
Like I
deceived
said, I don't
by
do
the
Bible-
spirit of deception,
No.
as Paul writes?
I don't do Bible studies with non-believers. See, the thing is, as a Christian, I will seek... No, but... No, he wouldn't.
Guys, please, hold on.
No, man.
I have a little problem understanding your position, so I have a quick, simple question for you.
Sure.
Do you believe that democracy is the best system in a civilized society?
No, actually. I believe theocracy is.
Theocracy.
Yes. Christian theocracy. Because without him, all you can do is follow Matt. If he dies unrepentant, follow him into hell. And I tell you, you're not going to enjoy it there. People are going to say, I'm going to get away from God. You know what? You know who rules in hell? God rules in hell, not Satan. See, that's your offer. That's the offer. Jesus Christ or absurdity. But you'll probably walk out of here choosing absurdity because you love your sin. But you know what? Your conscience is on my side. You all know that God exists. I urge you, repent. Put your trust in Jesus Christ before it's too late. Because you will not like your eternity in hell. I urge you. But the problem is Matt is up here blaspheming God. Because when you say you don't know that God exists, you're calling God a liar. And if somebody came up here and said, I think your wife is a prostitute, I wouldn't be discussing about the finer points of marriage. I say, you better be careful. When you come up here and you say you don't believe that God exists, you're blaspheming him. This is not just some fun philosophical debate. You can laugh all you want, but God is not mocked. What you sow, you will reap.
Finish him.
Presuppositionalists don't debate. They claim to have solved the biggest problems in philosophy while asserting that they cannot possibly be wrong and that no other worldview can do this, but they don't demonstrate the truth of the claim that no other worldview can do this. They shift the burden of proof and want you to prove that you can, when what we're really saying is that we don't have evidence that anybody can, including you. They have no interest in demonstrating that belief in God is reasonable, which is the subject of this debate, a subject that I'd argue only one of us actually addressed. They're only interested in claiming that you can't reason if there is no God. Well, how can they demonstrate the truth of this? I have no idea. But they've removed themselves from the realm of debate when they make unsupported claims, including the claim that they're certain and can't be wrong. This isn't how debates are done. Kindergarten theology coupled with kindergarten philosophy, presuppositionalism is the equivalent of sticking your fingers in your ear and refusing to listen to reason. When your debate practice is to just repeatedly make claims and ask, could you be wrong about that? How do you know that? In order to get people to admit honestly that they're not certain of everything or perhaps anything, you're not engaged in debate. When challenged on clear, repeated appeals to absolute certainty and your response is that you're not really concerned about absolute certainty, the dishonesty is transparent. Saying that you could be wrong doesn't mean that you are wrong and doesn't tell us anything about whether or not you're wrong. The reason that certainty wasn't relevant in this debate, or in fact to knowledge, is that certainty is not a measure of the truth of a claim, it is the measure of the individual's confidence in a claim. Bertrand Russell said the trouble with the world is that the stupid are cocksure and the intelligent are full of doubt. There are big questions in this world. Some of them may forever be beyond our ken, but some of them appear to be discoverable. At this point, I see no reasonable justification for believing that God exists, the subject of this debate. And I also see no reasonable justification for why anyone should ever again waste time debating someone who has no interest in debate, but wants to merely claim that you're wrong because they're convinced that they have a special friend who ensures that they cannot be wrong.
Hey guys, Jack of Better Off Damned here. Thanks for watching our satirical breakdown of the debate. I know I didn't really include much footage of Matt Dillahunty or his rebuttals, but that's because I thought the debate, or rather the exchange, because it wasn't a debate, was mostly defined by Sye Bruggencate's unwillingness to debate. In any case, it is worth watching the full debate just for Matt's points alone, because he really drove some things home. So, that's linked right over here. And please subscribe to our channel and check us out on Facebook and our other social networks. Appreciate it.